we spent close to 70,000 Ghana cedis. I think you should be able to make 100% profits or more, depending on the season of cultivation and then the markets you are selling to, and let's say how well you cut down on your costs. You know, farming, you are basically working against almost all the elements. Everything is working against you, so it's for you to cut down on your cost of production, thereby you maximize your profits. You don't just quit your corporate job. Well, if you want to quit, make sure you've saved enough. I'm a full-time farmer, but I don't put all my hope here. And even with the farm, I know my okra can fail, my maize can fail. That is why we have the greenhouse there. We do whatever production you need to do there. Tea bag is there. We have the habanero here. We have some cucumber here and all that. We have pigs, we have bee, we have this and that. And even that, with our funds, the resources that come, we are diverting into other things. Small. Because imagine we produce here only during the dry season, from the minor into the dry season. And then your guys, you've employed them, you pay them whether there is production or not. Now, if there is no production and there is no cash flow, where's the money going to come from? Everything is risky, but it's just for us to diversify our portfolio. So agriculture, transport. If I have a tricycle, if my guys need to go to the farm here, I'll just have to call the guy. Please pick the guys to this place. I'll make sure he understands that you are part of the farm. It's just that you happen to be on the street. No, I don't think anything will motivate me to go into 9 to 5, to go back to 9 to 5. Except, no, you see, I don't make money with my main motivation. The joy I get from it comes before the money. I am quite young at my age, after school, and then I make losses as much as 500,000 Ghana cedis or 1 million Ghana cedis. What would motivate me to continue doing something I keep losing so much in?
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kekeli Michael. A very big happy new year to all of you and the best of wishes. Today I'm currently in Somenya. We are visiting Edtech farm. We did visit them last year in the tunnel. That was in Cape Coast. Today we are in Somenya to visit their habanero and their business. I know a lot of you have questions on updates on the video I did, how I got 30,000 from a single harvest on habanero. Today I'm here. If you stay long enough, I'll give you some gist on that production. So the video is going to be in two folds. We'll do a video on this habanero farm, the setup, the cost, and all the questions that you will need to also start. Then we'll move to the cucumber production. I will be speaking to a gentleman who helped me sell my habanero. I think he gave me the first habanero pepper money. That's the first gist. So don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share to a friend. This year is a year for us making money. Everything about me is money. Even if you call me cry, I go take money from you. So I beg you, the information he's about to share, take a note and jot them down. Ready? How much do you need to start?
Well, this is a 1,500 square meter area. That's 0.37 acres. And we spent close to 70,000 Ghana cedis. It wouldn't make much sense to someone, but then this place used to be a construction dump site. There was a building here and then it was demolished. So we had to spend a lot of money excavating the place. We had to take out the concrete waste and all that. And that is one reason our production costs is quite high. But then that aside, I think 20,000 to 30,000 should be able to get you a field like this, considering you have your borehole and everything already. This place, we had borehole, the main poly tank, and then the surface pump, which supplies the water into the, I think that should be our lateral line, then the drip line. So let me say we had some things in place already. We only had to get a few other things in addition.
How much can you make?
I think you should be able to make 100% profits or more, depending on the season of cultivation and then the markets you are selling to, and let's say how well you cut down on your costs. You know, farming, you are basically working against almost all the elements. Everything is working against you, so it's for you to cut down on your cost of production, thereby you maximize your profits.
What is the income like? Is it a passive income, as they claim?
Well, I don't think money I make from this place or money we make from this place is passive income, because this is a full-time job for some of us. Okay. And we get involved every day. For passive income, I think it's something you do one time and then it keeps generating money for you. So I wouldn't call it passive income. We are always here working and then making sure we get something out of it.
What's the story behind your business?
Well, so I think we didn't start with vegetable production. So I did mathematics in UCC, mathematics with economics, and then Vincent did agriculture, and we used to train together in the gym. But during the break in, I think, 2019, COVID-19, 2019-2020, during that long break, I met a friend called Emmanuel Boafo. So his brother, or let me say cousin, has this farm, Corps Ghana, Corps Farms Limited, yeah. So they are into exporting of mangoes and all that. And then I had a pickup truck at my disposal. So we would package some of the mangoes in a box, and then we go and distribute it in Accra. So we take the orders online, and then that's how come we started generating some money. And then I realized how profitable agribusiness could be, and I started reading more. And then there is this man, Kojo Akotobuatin. He used to work for City, now on Joy FM. I used to listen to his analysis, how he's always analyzing data with respect to agric, telling you the opportunities and all that. And he's a farmer himself, so I got motivated or inspired by those things I used to listen to, and then I decided to start farming. So I started with a 2-acre farmland. It was a gravel pit, my dad's, and then I got a payloader. We reclaimed the land and we started. I was, I think, in level 300 by then. Then I didn't have the time to be on the farm all the time, so I met a man in the community. It's Akoli, just around Somanya, and he would farm. I provided the land and then the seeds and whatever he will need, and then we share it in a ratio of 1:2. Then from there we started generating some money, and after school, after my national service and all that, I decided to go into full-time agriculture. Vincent was with NABCO on campus, yeah. So he was with NABCO, and then he also benefited from Youth in Greenhouse. That's should I say Agri Impacts, and then and Exim Bank. He became a beneficiary, and then through that training, we decided to team up to form Edtech Farms. So he handles most of the production in Cape Coast. He's the greenhouse guy, and then I happen to be on this side in Somanya. So that's how Edtech came about.
How did you get started?
I got support from my mom, siblings, aunties, relatives. I got support from them as well. So that's basically how we raise some funds. And then I have some friends in the diaspora and all that who sometimes sponsor me. Some give me, let me say, friendly loans. Some of them also, they charge friendly interests on their money. Yeah, so that's how we started.
At what point did you shift into? Because you said you did 2 acres of.
Yeah, so 2 acres of maize. We started from maize, and then we went to estuary. We went into rice production, and that was also on a partnership level. Yeah, and then from rice, I think we decided to use our fields for vegetables. That'll be last year, no, 2024.
Okay.
I think, yeah, 2024, because there was this drought, and then we realized during the rainy season during the dry season how vegetables are out of the supply is very low, so prices just skyrocket and all that. And in order to also help maybe reduce food inflation, we decided to cultivate vegetables during the dry season. So that's how come we ended up in doing habanero, cucumber, okra, and whatever
So
vegetable we
currently,
do.
the productions you guys are into is you have a pig farm.
Yeah, we have a pig farm, we have goats, we do beekeeping, we do habanero, cucumber, okra, tomato, and then we do, did I mention maize?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do maize, we do a little bit of cassava, and then we have an upcoming coconut farm. It's still at the young stage. Yeah. Then we do a bit of mango. The mango isn't mine. I would say my family has a mango farm.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What is the scale of your operation as to today?
For now, the vegetable and grains, we do approximately 10 acres. That's 0.37 here, 5 acres in the village. Okay, yeah, we have the lands in bits. So 5 acres, 0.37, 1.4, 1 acre, 500 square meter. That's for the cucumber. We have a 1.5 acre for the okra, also under irrigation. And then, yeah, that's basically what it is. And then I think I forgot to mention that we do poultry as well. So we produce broilers and then layers. So we have a 350 capacity layer farm. I do it basically at home. Yeah, I broke the pavements in my father's house, and then I converted it into a poultry farm. Yeah, so that, and then we have about 100 to 150 broilers, which we usually sell during Christmas. Not the traditional broilers. We do 50% local beds, that's Fulani genes, and then a hybrid of Sasso beds.
Yeah. What makes you guys different from the other farmers in the community?
A lot. So if you come to Somanya, it's more about mango production. So we seem to be in a class of our own, because I don't see a lot of vegetable producers around. So most of the produce, the vegetables come from communities around, let me say the villages, and then maybe the middle belt, Ashanti region area and all that. That's where our people get it from. But then to compare us to the others, the produce that comes to the market here, I think when you look at the quality of produce and all that, I think we are doing we are doing something different, because we are passionate about what we do here. And so you can, I think the result speaks for itself. Longer shelf life of our fruits and all that, that makes our produce unique.
What about your employees as far as operations on the farm?
Employees. Labor is an issue in this country, but I think for now we have, in Cape Coast, we have, apart from Vincent, we have 2 people that assist him, Matthew and then one lady. And in Somanya, we have 3 permanent guys and then 1 volunteer. Well, she's not, I wouldn't call her that volunteering, but then we don't pay her as we should. I wouldn't pay her like I pay the permanent guys, so I call her a volunteer. But then we've had a lot of guys come and then run away. Yeah, you pay them today, and then there are some of them I housed them in my father's house. It's a duplex, so they stay at the other end, and then I am at the other side. I paid one guy, let's say around 6 p.m. I said good night to him. The next morning, he was nowhere to be found. He left, and then left with the key to the bedroom and all that. So it's a problem. So, recently, I think that was on 2nd or 3rd January. Yeah, that would be 2nd January. So I had this old man. He's quite older, from the Upper East region. He came around, unfortunately lost his brother, left and came back. He came on 15th of December. He worked for us for 2 weeks. He worked with us for 2 weeks. And then I paid him on 22nd December. That's half of the month. So I paid him half. I don't know if it's lack of understanding or whatever it is. On 1st January, I cooked in my house, served him. I sent his own to him on the farm. He was supposed to be stationed at the okra farm, the 1.5 acre okra farm. On 2nd, one of the guys came back from the okra farm and said he couldn't find the old man. What do you mean by I can't find the old man? Well, we tried calling him on the phone, out of coverage area. Later, we heard from him, and he said he left the key to the farmhouse under a certain container, and that he's in Koforidia Zongo. He can't do the work again. So as we speak now, I know he's in the Upper East region. I heard from his people that he is back. It's quite difficult working with people, especially if you're a startup. You know, not everyone believes in your dream, and you can't compare yourself to bigger farms like banana farms. People are earning 2,000, 3,000 plus, and then you are here paying just about 1,000 to maximum. Like, they don't get it. The person feels like you are making so much money and then not giving him what he is due. So
currently, how many people are on your team now?
So for now, right from Cape Coast to Somanya, I think we will be about 8. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any prior experience?
No.
How did you learn on this kind of production?
I think passion and curiosity. I would read and then follow some people online. And Vincent, he did agriculture, so yeah, most of the things come from him. So I would say he's our technical director.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I handle the other stuff, administrative stuff. And
so let's go to the financial aspect now.
Okay.
How much of it do you get to keep?
How much of the money we get to keep?
Profit money.
Well, this particular farm, we are in the negatives.
Okay.
Because of how much we had to spend to get this operational. But then we shouldn't have been in the negatives if my guys did the right thing. So during the last cycle, I traveled, and I think they failed to spray some fungicides during the rainy season. So we had a whole lot of fungal bacterial issues here, and I think the plants, they just failed. They failed us.
So
that was it.
The same field you did at
Yes. So this place is dedicated to habanero production. We don't do anything else here. Well, we tried doing okra here, but I didn't do well. I wouldn't be able to explain because it was under the same conditions, irrigation and everything, same borehole water, but then they just wouldn't yield. I don't know if it's temperature or whatever it is, but then, yeah. For now, we've dedicated the place to pepper production.
Last year, you didn't harvest anything?
No, we harvested.
Like how many times?
We started harvesting from sometime 29th March all the way to, I think, 5th June. Yeah, we could go as high as 150 kilograms per harvest. Sometimes that's at one harvest. Sometimes in the week we could harvest about 2 or 3 times, so we could go as high as 200 kilograms and I doubt we reached the peak of the production cycle before that thing happened. So
at that point, were you selling in a 60 cedis or 30 cedis?
okay, so we started from I think we started from 40 cedis,
Okay.
and then went all the way up to 80
Per kilo.
per kilo. Yeah. So it was at the latter part that we were doing 60, 80. But then most of it, you know, when you deal with these local market women, they will always find a way to cheat you.
Yeah.
So yeah, initially I was in the office, and then I didn't want to hit the field until I spoke to you. And then you went to Ho to ask some prices. I also took the car, went to Koforidia. I found out, no, they were selling the baskets on the local market for I think 800 cedis. And if you should measure, that's about 10 kilograms. So I did the division and realized, no, we should be selling a kilo for 80 cedis. So I actually gave it out to, we have a lady in town, a friend.
Okay.
She picks it up from us and does the distribution. So I give it to her at 75 cedis per kilo, and then she keeps the extra 5 cedis or whatever she adds as her profits.
Okay. So
I think we raised a total revenue of about 34,000 Ghana cedis. So yeah, so we could have we could have broke even if the production went a bit longer. Yeah.
Okay. So did you have to change anything?
I changed quite a lot of things. So last year, the mulch sheet we got was already perforated at I think 30 cm intervals, and it wasn't thick. This one, for instance, is 30 microns. And for that one, we actually lost our first set of seedlings. There is this thing, I don't know if we can go towards this side. There is a venturi.
Yeah.
So I have a venturi here. I don't know how to use it. And from the greenhouse tunnel too, we only know how to use the 1,000 liter poly tank. But AgriMinds introduced us to the venturi without much education. So whatever happened, after we transplanted the first seedlings, we tried administering nutrients to them. I had a friend come around. He's called Kofi. I asked him if he knows his way around the venturi, and then he said yes. Unfortunately, the EC we gave to the first transplants was so high, so we began losing almost all the plants. You know, when they start reacting, you can see it on the leaves, sometimes at the tip. Yeah. So we lost a lot of them. So we had to nest again. I think all those things contributed to.
Seeds, that would be like. I mean, their seed is like 1 CD.
Yes, so that's like 1,000, and then last year we had 1,523 here. So that's basically we had to buy in excess, so 1,700 per purchase. So 1,700 cedis. We lost. I would say when you come here, you could only find about 50 plants randomly doing well on the farm. So we had to buy again, and then I think after that we decided to go back for our 1,000 liter baby, and then that's what helped us.
I use the venturi now.
I don't know how to use it.
Well, for checking the EC, what I did was that after running the nutrients, I'll go and open the lines.
Your drainage is, yes, you check. But then what the reason I wouldn't want to risk it is I want to be able to tell the suction rates and then the dilution that's happening. At each suction, I should know how it dilutes it, and then know that, okay, right from here, this is the EC that is being supplied. But going to check is like gambling. I don't know what's here. I'm now going to check what's here. But before I get to the end, it has already dripped to a couple of plants. That is where I had the problem. So I had to use the venturi, the 10. We had to go back to our 10,000, our 1,000 liter. Sorry.
We'll come back to this one. When it comes to crop selection, how did you go about it?
Okay,
in different seasons?
So what we do is we've been paying attention to the market for some time now. We break the year or the season into quarters. And we know in Ghana, Q1, Q2, I think we don't have a lot of production going on. So you realize tomato and then pepper, basically vegetable prices shoot up during Q1, Q2. So I think it's the start of Q2 that other open field farmers, the rain-fed fields begin production. So it is during that time that we also channel resources towards grain production instead. So we end up doing almost maize and then cassava on all the other fields, except this place where we leave it to fallow. Apart from that, so we look at the market. So for instance, Vincent could be doing bell peppers in the tunnel in Cape Coast. I would be doing maybe something else here. So we work as a team. We have a calendar planned. So he is doing Mediterranean cucumber. I'll be doing this here. When he does this there, I also move. So that's how we go about it. So usually you have the tomato. We plant tomato in the tunnel sometimes around November, and then maybe by February he ends the cycle. Well, we always fight about that. He would say the temperature in the tunnel wouldn't favor tomato. Okay. I ask him to risk it, but he doesn't want to. So we look at the temperature. You know, during from sometime November to March, the heat wave is quite serious. So he looks at what will tolerate higher temperatures, and then he does it there. And then we do the others here.
Okay. During last year production, did you do the same variety?
Yeah, it was Loleza and then Mawenzili. But we did a lot of Loleza and then little Mawenzili.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you noticed that the Mawenzili price was higher.
Yeah.
So
a bit
could
higher
that be
than
a reason why you only have Mawenzili on?
Oh no, this cycle we have both. I think it's 50-50. You know, so we changed about 9 drip lines here. The initial ones, we had them spaced at 60 centimeters. But this very one, we bought all of them at the same time, but after installation, we realized they were spaced at 40 centimeters. So that means our plant population had increased. So we had to buy some new seeds, and that's how can you find some younger seedlings or seedlings on the last 4 beds there. These ones are far gone. These ones are, I think, about 42 days old. These ones, I think they are just about 4 days after transplanting. So we have about 300 to 400 Loleza there, and then 100 Mawenzili on the new beds. And this one, I think it should be either 60-40 or 50-50.
What does your year-to-year revenue look like?
Across all fields or just this place? I would say 100% of our production costs, between 70 to 100% of our production costs, we are able to make that much return on them. So if I invest 1 cedi, the minimum I should be expecting is 7 cedis return on it.
Okay.
Yeah. On
just the crop productions.
Yeah. But then, for now, because we are a startup, almost all of that money goes back into
another product.
Yeah. So it goes back into buying. Maybe, you know, one thing we don't want to do now is to farm without water. So last year, for instance, we had to drill borehole and all that. We learned from 2024. There was this dry spell where Charlie. I really want to talk about it. So
you experienced that before. I had to be fetching from well and watering one.
We planted maize. It got to knee level, and then the rain just stopped. 5 acres of maize, Charlie. And then it wasn't just seeds, let's say we got from one production. They were seeds we bought, F1 seeds and all. You know how expensive those seeds can be. They will tell you, oh, this is legacy, this is lake, this, that. Charlie, we bought it, you bought fertilizer and all of that, but the rain say, we are not coming down.
So what's the bare minimum that someone needs to get started in this business? Let's take only this field.
This field. Well, let's assume the person has a field like ours, and then all the challenges we faced, the person wouldn't face those same challenges. I think the 20 to 30,000, and then the passion should be enough. Even though passion doesn't pay salaries, passion wouldn't buy your seeds and all that. But I think if you follow the money too much, you'll end up getting disappointed, because anything could go wrong at any point in time, and then you'll give up. But with the passion, you get to go again. You know, it's something like you learn to you do it today. You make mistakes. You learn from those mistakes. You do it again tomorrow. You improve, but then you still do some mistake. So maybe from your third, fourth production, that's where you get to start making some money.
But if, as you said, passion, because if you don't have the passion, you can't repeat the second production.
Exactly. So you need passion a lot.
So you said the best minimum should be 30,000.
Yeah.
30,000. What will account for that?
So for a field like this, I think two rolls of mulch sheets will do. A roll is about 600 meters. So 20 beds here. That will be 2,600 Ghana cedis. A roll is 1,300. So 2,000. So let's say 20,000. Let's be subtracting what I mentioned, 20,000.
You said 30,000.
Yeah, 20 to 30,000. Okay. So, well, let's start from 30,000. So 30,000 minus 2,600 for mulch sheets. You have 27,400. Okay. Now, let's say about 1,800. The plant population here is approximately 1,800. So you would need maybe to buy 2,000 seeds. So budget 2,000 Ghana cedis for that. I wouldn't know the exact price for the seeds now. So let's say 1 cedi per seed. Yeah. Now you will need to buy your drip tape. Well, we use drip hose here. It's quite thicker. It's not like the tape that it collapses once there is no water in it. Okay. I think when I got it, a coil was going for, I think, 1,900.
How many coils?
Yeah, I think I got 3. I used 2, but then the extra one is what we used in replacing the damaged lines. Okay. So let's say 2 should be enough. So that would be 3,800. Okay. So 3,800, and then your lateral line, you need a PE pipe. I think 50 meters. This place is 30 meters long, okay. But then I think the minimum you could get on the market is 50 meters. Okay. So assuming 500 cedis for that, so 500. I think I lost the calc. Okay, so we are currently at 21,600 minus 500. You have 21,100. Now your pesticide, that's insecticide, fungicide, and all that. Yeah, maybe you should budget some, the foliar fertilizers and all that, maybe some 1,000.
Sure.
No, let's say, okay, yeah, repetition. Depending on the season, you know, when it's the wet season, you need a lot of fungicides, but in the dry season, you don't have a lot of fungal issues as compared to
from the dry to the wet season.
Okay, so it will increase. So let's say budget 2,000 for insecticide, 2,000 for fungicides, and then your foliar fertilizers, I think 1,000. Yeah, I'll come to that. So I think, say 5,000, yeah, 5,500, 5,000 to 6,000 should do. So let's use the minimum. Okay. So 5,000 for your pesticides and then foliar feeds. Now we are left with 16,100. Now a bag of potassium nitrate is, I think, 560 cedis the last time I bought. MAP is also around 540. So minus 560. Yeah, minus 540. And I think calcium nitrate and then magnesium sulfate. Those are the 4 fertilizers we use. Is the 2 of them should be less than 500. So let's say 500 exactly. The 2 of them. So minus 500. Now you're left with 14,500. We got a venturi we don't use, but then It's also part of our costs. And then we have the 1,000-liter poly tank there, which cost us 1,700. 1,700 cedis.
For the small tank.
Yeah, for the small tank. Then maybe your salaries. I have.
You forgot to mention the land preparation.
Thank you.
Salary.
No, that wouldn't go into salary. So plowing. So this is small. An acre is plowed for 500 cedis, but then the guy I got, Ghanaians, we like cheating a lot. So he still took 500 cedis for this.
Matter.
Yeah.
The
The guy is just around this place. So I think we plowed twice, so that would be 1,000 cedis and then harrow. Yeah, so let's say that would be, they charge 400 cedis for the harrow, so 1,400 cedis. And 1,400. And then now you come to making your beds.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of people film me. They take the money and then they start the work, they vanish. In fact, there were two old men came here. They started the work and then they asked me for some money to buy food. So they left their cutlass and hoe and everything. I still have those things in my room. They are going to get food. They never returned. So you budget for those losses. Let's say put aside some 2,000 cedis for disappointments. So they will disappoint you, but I wouldn't include that. So after land preparation, let's say
you know why?
No.
When they come, yes, we bet this about bedaji.
So I think you should budget about the last time I asked Francis how much he pays for the beds he grows vegetable. I think sweet potato in whole. You should know him. Yeah, he told me it's 1,200 per acre. So if we should divide that by 3, I think 400. But that's not realistic around Somanya. You should be paying something like 1,000 cedis for the beds only. So now we are left with 10,400. Now the guys that will.
Before we get to the guys, staking trellis.
Yeah, so we I think we will come to that. Let's talk about the guys that will lay the mulch sheets for you.
Okay.
So let's say we are paying 10 or 20 cedis for each bed. So we are spending close to 300 cedis
for laying of
the rubber only, the mulch sheet. So let's take that 400 cedis on the 10,000 to settle that. So now we are left with 10,000 flats.
Let's go back to the installation of the drip lines.
Exactly. So what happened is because I bought it from a company, the initial one was I think it came as a whole. The invoice had the installation fee and all that. But I think I didn't include it when I mentioned the price of the drip tape and all that. So I think it cost us 1,200 or so for the installation. And then so now we'll be left with 8,800. Now you have to buy bamboo. One sells for 8 cedis. This is the length. It's just about 12 feet. So assuming you have to cut it into 2. And then each bed here takes 5. So 5 times 20.
You know what I did? I went into the bush and I cut
trees. So that means we need 50 pieces of bamboo here. And then 5, that's 50 times 8. So that's 400 cedis. So 8,800. I think 8,400 minus the 50 times 8. So we are left with 8,000 exactly. Now transporting the bamboo here, it will cost you around 80 to 120 Ghana cedis. So 120, you are left with 7,880. Now you pay electricity bill to run your pump every month. So if your cycle, we spend about 500 cedis here on electricity every month. Yeah, we have some lights around the wall that consume a lot of power. So maybe if you are running only your pump, you should be looking at say 300 cedis a month. 100 cedis. In Ghana today, it's impossible. So let's say 300 cedis per month. If you are running the cycle for let's say 6 months, 6, 3, 18, so 1,800 for your electricity bill only. So 6,080. Now we haven't bought knapsack sprayers and all that.
Okay.
We use the electric knapsack here.
I wouldn't even recommend that one. Or okay, you did a knapsack.
Yeah.
For
your foliar feeds, your fungicides.
This blower for that?
I have that as well, but I use that when the canopy is yeah. So for that one, we need the pressure to push the pesticide through, so that's when we use that. We have two of that. Yeah, but then for this, I think we have one for pesticides, one for foliar feeds. So like one sells for 540 to 600 cedis. So if you need two of that, that's 1,200. I left with 4,880 cedis. I think there should be other things I haven't included. Well, we use some traps here. Yeah. So I think one sells for 12 cedis. Once the trap is full, you need to replace it. So you can budget, say, 500 cedis for that. Could be on the higher side, but let's just assume 500 cedis. Now you need your rope, the trellis lines. Yeah.
That one you didn't add it?
No, I didn't. I think the last time I bought one, I've forgotten the price, but it's quite okay. And then you will need about, I think, 3 or 4, depending on the length.
3. I bought 3. I think I bought 3 for 500 or so, 500 or something.
Okay, so you should need 3 or 4 here.
On this small field.
You see, as the canopy grows bigger, one thing we realize is because it's woody, sometimes you would catch it at one end when the fruits.
But do you know the interesting thing about this Mawenzili? I don't think they even need the trellis.
When it's windy, it breaks it.
But it reached a stage that is too hard that it can't break it.
Yes, but then if the fruits on it isn't that heavy, then fine.
Okay.
But last year, what we realized is because of the building, those here didn't suffer like that. But those exposed to the gates, once the wind is coming in, so we had to, so most of them were breaking left, right, anyhow.
The issue I had was when I was harvesting, we were passing through, then it breaks. The branches keep breaking.
And the slightest.
The force you apply to them.
So I think with the rope, it's able to hold it in place.
You need it.
So you need it, no matter what. Except you are in a forest somewhere and you can find sticks to support them everywhere. Yeah. So I think we are left with 4,380 cedis now. Now let's give that to the salary. So if you are paying 800 cedis per month,
I mean,
that will take you for 5 months only.
This hard Ghana 800 cedis.
I'm just saying, assuming you are paying 800 cedis only. It will take you for 5 months. Exactly, they will run away. So let's say you are paying 1,000 to 1,200. If you are dividing that 4,800 by 200, you are only paying salary for 3.5 months.
Before you start seeing money.
Yeah.
I mean, you start seeing
money from. Well, after transplanting, they started fruiting at I think 40 days. So maybe we should start harvesting. I think the seed data tells us between 70 to 90 days. So we have about 30 days more to begin harvesting. So that's when we start seeing money. So within that 3 months, you should be able to sustain your employee before you start getting your money.
Among all this crop, what's your personal favorite crop on the farm?
I think peppers are kind. But for the trips, peppers are kind. They are forgiving. They don't just respond to shocks like that as compared to some other crops. For instance, we did cucumber in the tunnel and there was no water. Within some few days, they started giving up. Yeah, so we had to get a new connection to the tunnel. But for pepper, I think they can last for some time. Yeah.
What's your best piece of business advice you have ever received?
The man who consults for us, he advised us not to farm what we cannot manage effectively. or efficiently. So he asks that we farm only what we can manage. And I think that has been the best advice. It guides me in everything. For instance, we do 500 square meter of cucumber. People pass around here, they laugh at us. They are like, this small farm and all that. But then we know how much we are expecting from it. And it makes sense. Imagine I'm farming this 500 square meter and my employees run away. I can do all the work alone. But then if I rush to go and do 3 acres and the guys run away, I can't do anything. Maybe I'll be able to work on some small area, but the pests from the larger farm will still affect this one. Yeah. And I think the second advice would be that we shouldn't rush to scale up. So it's for him that we run this place like experimental farms. Okay. So until we experiment the seed variety here, we don't scale up. So even with the maize we produce and all that, I tried Legacy 26 here. I saw how I saw the yield for myself before I took it to the village. I think mass crop 143 or so. I saw the yield here, Lake 601, everything. I tried them on a smaller scale here before we take it there, because it's not like you are getting the money from somewhere. Even if your father is Bill Gates, he also needs the money to do something. So maybe the money is not coming like that. It is your friends that are risking their money. They believe in what you are doing and all that, because you don't even have the collateral to go and take that much money from the bank, and the banks will also kill you with interest rates. So yeah, I take their money, I play with it small here, and then we take it there.
Okay. What's the most money one of your production has made in a single cycle?
I think we tried okra on the 500 square meter area. I got the drip tape. That's the only place we use the drip tape. I got the drip tape as a gift from a friend with AgriMinds. He is Hussein. Okay. Yeah, he is there. So he has become my good friend. He is now my irrigation technician. Yeah, he does everything from Sumaya to Cape Coast for us. He is someone I'm very much grateful to. He gave those things to me as a gift. By then he was leaving the country. He traveled to Israel. And I had some seeds from the field farm. You know, I was telling you about our maize that got to the knee level. That very year, we had 3 acres of okra there. It also failed because of that drought. So the one that was under irrigation here, we spent, because he gave me that thing as a gift, I didn't spend much. I got, I think, about 6,000 cedis over a period of 2 months from growing okra there, because this is 1/8 of an acre, and it was giving us about a full basket every 2-3 days. So if I sell that at 250, I sold that at 250 then for, I think, a period of 2 months, and then we got that. So just from 500 square meters, we got 6,000. So imagine 1/8 of an acre, multiply that 6,000 times 8. So you know how much you can get from an acre from that.
What's your number one rule for success?
Never cultivate on a land without water. Yeah. Whether you are doing soilless farming, no matter the medium you grow in, I think you need water. And that's a lesson I got from 2024, 2025, the dry spell and all those things. That's when we decided not to start cultivating on any land without water. So we had to go into drilling of the borehole and all that.
Okay.
Because even if you use soil, and no matter how nutrient rich the land is, you still need water. And the rain, you know, because of climate change, you can't predict and say, oh, today there will be rain. This year, okay, last year, 2025, it rained throughout December. Even January, it's been raining. I'm sure on your way here today, you said it showered.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something I haven't seen before.
Interesting. It was raining in my car.
That's a Ghanaian trotro for you. So yeah, you can't predict, and then you'll be expecting the rain to come in say March, late March to maybe June, and then decides not to come. So if you have your water, if the rain comes, fine. If it doesn't, you have no problem.
How much of a difference does a good location make versus a bad location in this business?
Good location. I think if you find yourself land in the center of town, arable land in the center of town, you are good to go, because access to the place is very key. It's key to maybe the success of your farm, because after production, you need to move your produce to the market. If your place is inaccessible, it becomes a whole lot of wahala for you. It's a whole headache on its own. Imagine you are in the forest somewhere, maybe just a footpath, and you have to convey 200 kilograms of habanero. You carry this thing on your head, trek. Not even a tricycle can get there. So, no. And if you find yourself in the center of town, maybe closer to a market, it also helps, because for this place, I don't struggle with sending my produce to the closest markets. Koforidia, Accra. Well, for Accra, I think he comes here to take it with his own car. So he was buying throughout last cycle, and then the ladies in town, Somanya town also, they just come here. Sometimes they even have tricycles they speak to. They just come around, pick it, go. I just move the produce in the wheelbarrow here, get to the roadside. We send it to the people in Koforidia, and then we are good to go. And then with the good place too, if the place is protected, let's say this fenced area, we don't have problem with theft, and then maybe rodents and all that. You know, if you have rodents around, you find your cucumber is me. You find rats eating your cucumber for you.
Even in a tunnel, when I went to T-Back,
yes, they eat that.
They were eating
yes, you know, the tunnel, there is a bush around. Yes, so if you have a good location, apart from the location of the farm, I think if the farming area is protected from all those things, it helps. And then people don't just walk through your farm. You know, they are just like animals. If you go to the poultry farm, people will tell you biosecurity, you need to disinfect your feet, this, that. Yeah. So someone could just come from somewhere with whatever pathogens or whatever is on their address. They walk through your farm. No, it doesn't help. So I think even though it's an open field farm, having it in an enclosed area is helping us a lot.
What needs to be on a property for that location to work?
I think you need a farmhouse. No matter how small. You don't need to put up a mansion or a 2-bedroom house or whatever. You can start with a wooden structure. You know, on our 3-acre, we are using a container farmhouse. We just converted a 40-foot shipping container into a farmhouse, and that same container house is our pump station, our office, and then 2 bedrooms, one for the farmhands and then one for us. Apart from the structure, if you have your structure, you have your water, I think that's a good location. And then make sure it is accessible. You don't need to do much again.
Okay. Have you had a production totally fail you?
Oh yes. That is the maize farm that got to knee level, and then God decided not to send down the rains again. And then the okra farm too. For that one, it got to a certain level. I think they were just as tall as myself. But then, yeah, we didn't get, I think we spent close to 9,000 on it, from land preparation to everything. And then we didn't get much, just about 6,000. So that was also a loss.
What was the lesson?
Yeah, the lesson is never go into farming without water. Water is very important. I was restless within that period because, Charlie, you went to take someone's money to farm. And God is not sending down the rain. We had some petrol pump, those gasoline pumps. Yeah. I went to there is this the gutter in front of the land. Ghana Water has this main line, and then I don't know what happened to it, but there is always water in it. I pumped that onto the field, still it didn't help. But then the friend who gave me that money was understanding, and then that patience for me. So I think it helped me. I didn't put so much.
Okay.
It didn't cost me a whole lot of thinking.
Let's go to pricing. What's important when it comes to pricing the produce correctly?
Apart from your production costs, I think you should know how much you want as return on your investments. So your profit margin. Then you should know, it's a business environment. There is competition. So you should know the price of the prices other farmers are selling their produce for. Then apart from that, you should consider production cost, competition, and then profit margin. I think that's it, because
Is that how you price your vegetables?
Yeah. So I think, but sometimes we just go with what's on the market. Let's say habanero is selling for 40 cedis per kilogram. It will be very difficult for you to sell above 40 cedis, but you'll get people to buy below. Everyone wants the cheap stuff. Yeah. So if it's selling for 40, maybe you can decide to sell yours for 35. Once it is making business sense to you, you are not running a loss, I think it is good. You don't always have to aim at supernormal profits.
I mean, even if you sell yours at maybe 50 and you don't get buyer, what options do you have?
Personally, I don't have any option because I don't do processing.
Okay.
So, they are perishables.
Yeah.
So once it is ready, you don't have to think about, no, let me keep this thing and then wait for prices. You have to be selling until you meet the good price. So even, was it that same period, 2024, a basket of okra was selling for 300 cedis.
Okay.
Within 1 week, 2 weeks, I took the same thing to the farm and then I sold it to the market and we sold it for 30 cedis. Meanwhile, we paid each of the ladies that came to help us harvest 50 cedis. So that means you are selling 2 baskets to pay 1 lady. 30 cedis from 300 cedis, and that's how the Ghanaian vegetable prices fluctuate. Today they are selling at 700 cedis per basket. Tomorrow they tell you it's 10 cedis or 20 cedis. And I don't know who sets the price on the local markets, but I think we have some market queens. They sleep today, they wake up and they feel like, no, let's give these farmers 2 cedis per kilogram, and then that is it. And I think that's why if your farm is doing well and you should aim at selling to these supermarkets. At least they deal with the scale, they know how much they are paying per kilo and all that. And then maybe if you meet the standards or specifications, you try exporting to other countries. It's better than selling here if you don't do processing.
Is this business a cash flow as advertised, or as we've been?
Yeah.
It's a cash flow.
Yeah.
Tell me, what makes it?
Imagine you plant your habanero. For the first 2-3 months, you don't get to harvest, so there is no money coming in. But once you begin harvesting, the plants, they fruit a lot. Yeah. So once you have the markets to sell it, then you always have cash because you are likely to be harvesting every week. If your farm is big, for this place, we were harvesting sometimes twice. Sometimes we start harvesting and then, we have 20 beds here. It could be that the whole from 6 a.m. by 12 noon, we will be on maybe the 5th bed because they were fruiting a lot. So you will be harvesting 1 bed for maybe 1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's good. Once the market is there and you are selling, there is always cash for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I tasted it. I told you that I sold.
for one harvest.
I swear,
Yeah.
you know the time I left the farm.
No,
I left the farm 11 p.m.
from
on a motorbike.
wow, you were harvesting as late as 11 p.m.
I finished harvesting, the bagging, and then moving it, you know.
That means you were in a booster, we're moving it. So yeah, it's a good cash flow. Because if you are able to sell within the dry season, I think most of the farmers are trying to do dry season production now. But it might affect the pricing because there will be increase in supply.
Yeah.
But even with that, Charlie, I think if you are selling habanero a kilogram for say 30 cedis and you have 100 plants, so if at the end of the cycle, I don't know if it's going to be for 3 months, 6 months, but if you're able to get 1 kilo from each plant, so 30 times 100, that's 300 cedis. Now do that by 1,000.
3,000.
No, 30 times 1,000, that's 30,000.
Okay.
Yes. Just for now, compare that to someone who is in the office, divide that 30,000 by 12. Then you know how much you are earning on a monthly basis. Yes.
Okay.
So I think it's good. And with your 1 acre, you're able to do that sale in one harvest.
So people didn't tell me it was tedious.
You know, a lot of the farmers on the internet wouldn't tell you how much work goes into it. As I sit here, my waist is hurting. Because yesterday we had to do pruning here. We started, I think the rain, it showered around 4 p.m. so we couldn't finish. We had to finish this morning. It's a whole lot of work. They don't tell you that, but it's a whole lot of work. And it's garbage in, garbage out. So Vincent will tell you, TLC, tender loving care. How much attention you give to the plants is how much money they'll return to you.
If you are doing this farm if you are doing 1 acre pepper farm and you are involved, like you will neglect your wife if you are married.
Oh, even this place, I have challenges with my family. Sometimes we spray, you know, insecticides, you need the temperature to go down. Yeah. So we could be spraying, especially when the canopy is a lot. You could be spraying from maybe 5:30 and then we'll close around 7 p.m. Last year, I get home around 7 and they are angry. They are like, it's late. You know, we don't sleep here. Yeah. We go, so they are angry. Why are you the only one who is farming? Why would you be farming from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.? I explained to them that there are pesticides that we can't spray, and then Charlie, they still didn't take that. So, and once you get home, sometimes I don't even eat. I think there are some occasions where I get home, I don't sleep on my bed. I just lie on the floor and then that's it. I'll wake up around 12 midnight and then go and bath before going to my bed. It's a whole lot of work. And that's why if you have people, dedicated people, you should take very good care of them. My guys are doing a lot. Yeah.
I think initially I suffered a lot because that was my first time doing the habanero. I have to close from work, rush, and go and join the labor there.
Part-time farmer. Part-time farmer.
When I come back, I will lie on the floor. Charlie.
It's a whole. Even harvesting alone is a problem. Because one plant, you could spend like 10 minutes on one plant. 10 minutes might be too much, but some 3 to 5 minutes, you could spend it on one plant, especially if it's grown. You'll be picking this pepper and then you are never finishing. It's a whole lot of work. This year, in order to reduce the stress on the boys, I intend to get maybe 3 or 4 women from town. They should help us with the harvest.